Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 279. I am Brennan. All right, The Ultimate Fighter, season 31, McGregor versus Chandler, episode 3. All right, if you're... Spoilers ahead. We're going to be covering what happened in this episode, including the fight between Austin Hubbard and Aaron McKenzie. I also broke down the first 2 episodes if you want to check those out. Real quick before we get started, if you like this kind of stuff, you like fight breakdowns, I do this thing every single week. Subscribe to the channel to the next videos coming out. I'd appreciate it. All right, let's get talking about the episode. This one had more training in it than the last 2, or I felt like it did. Focus more on it. And, you know, honestly, not that much drama, which it makes for less note-taking. I'll tell you that. But so it makes for less note-taking, which means I have less things to just bring up. But overall experience watching, so much better. Not seeing like pent-up bullshit and people fighting and getting in fights in the kitchen. Like, who cares? Aaron McKenzie ends up getting kicked in the ribs early in the episode, or they show it in the training, and McGregor gives him advice on how to get rid of the pain. He does that. He does this here. He shows him how to get rid of the pain, like put the hand on the pain and close your eyes, feel where it is, and then take your hand and then pull the pain out. A lot of mysticism type of, it's psychological stuff. So if that works, it works. If it doesn't, I understand why it doesn't work. Hubbard's fresh from being cut in the UFC. Training at Elevation Fight Team can be very helpful for him. I noticed, Justin Gagey was, obviously trains out of Team Elevation, so he's helping him out up there before they came to the house. That is, and being cut freshly from the UFC, he's got that professional experience at the highest level as recent as 2021, and he went 3-4 in the UFC. It's not like he had a horrible UFC career. It's just it didn't pan out the way he wanted it to. Some of these guys are saying that being in the Ultimate Fighter is what they wanted, and like it's the goal and all this. That seems a little bit off to me. I understand being involved with and having an opportunity to fight for the UFC are great, but wouldn't a UFC contract right off the bat be better? Wouldn't it be better just to be signed by the UFC and then be done with it, and then you have a contract? I don't know. Maybe going on the Ultimate Fighter, getting that publicity ahead of time is the goal for some of these people. I just don't really think so. And then there's this kid in the episode who makes his own action figures of Conor McGregor. It's pretty cool. So McGregor ends up giving him like $1,000. He makes these little action figures that look like him, and it's super cool. And he tells him like, "Hey, what's the damage? A G?" And he pays him like $1,000 for it. Pretty cool. As far as the fight goes, so Austin Hubbard is, even though he's on the prospects team, Austin Hubbard is 3 years older. Flip that around. Austin Hubbard is on the veteran team, and even though he's on the veteran team, he's 3 years younger than Aaron McKenzie, right? So I thought that was interesting. They both have quite a few fights, and it shows the guy from the veteran team is younger. It's neither here nor there for how everything ultimately went down. It's just, in terms of where they are in their mixed martial arts journey and their professional mixed martial arts journey, it's funny that the guy who's been to the UFC and is back is younger than a prospect just coming up. So the fight starts out. McKenzie goes for a low kick and gets countered up top. It became clear that McKenzie's striking wasn't horrible, but he left a lot of openings, and then his power, I think he felt the power of Hubbard and really wanted to get that takedown. So McKenzie lands a really nice right hand, and he lands a low kick, and he pressures him, and he tries for the takedown. He gets him momentarily, but he doesn't really get any control, and they get right back up. Hubbard deals with the pressure, and then McKenzie can't get the takedowns, and they end up switching positions, right? So Hubbard ends up pressing him against the cage in the clinch. Nice left hand from McKenzie and a front kick to the body from Hubbard. McKenzie landed a right hand, then pressured the fence again and got nothing with it. Honestly, up until this point, I thought McKenzie was winning this round. Okay? And then I wrote down, holy shit. Hubbard lands his hard uppercut and McKenzie drops. McGregor says, for fuck's sake. You can see him on the side. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's fucking hilarious. McKenzie gets busted up from that pretty bad, and then Austin starts dropping elbows and good ground and pound to end the round. 10-9, clearly in Hubbard's favor. Second round here, McKenzie is still swinging hard, landing hard low kicks. Hubbard going for the front kick and the jab. McKenzie getting deep on a single, but then Hubbard used the Kimura grip to reverse it. And then Hubbard ends up getting the takedown. Hubbard with the hard elbows as McKenzie tries to stand up. He hit him hard with this right elbow, cracked him right on the outside of the eye. And, afterwards, McKenzie's eye was so busted up and blown up after he came back from the hospital, all the swelling. Hubbard used his balance in the clinch to just throw McKenzie back down when they stood back up. McKenzie was bleeding real bad by the end of this one. And unlike the first two fights, maybe not so much the second one, because at least that one went to the second round. This one felt like a real dismantling, right? There's not a point in this where McKenzie can say, oh, he just got a lucky shot. It's not that, Hubbard did hit him hard with that uppercut, but it's not that the fight didn't get finished there. He came out fresh in the second round and couldn't implement his game plan or couldn't impose it onto Hubbard. So there's no, oh, well, maybe if I zigged when I should, or maybe if I didn't zig and then I zagged instead, maybe I'd be in the UFC, or maybe my skill level is good enough, I just got caught here and there. Kind of, but not really with this one, This one it shows that McKenzie is good, right? He's a tough guy, especially dealing with Hubbard. Hubbard is a UFC-level talent. He was in the UFC, and he's good enough to be in the UFC at his current level, I can tell you that. Whether or not he's going to be a true contender, I don't think so, based off what I'm seeing. I think he's well-rounded, and he's a hard out, but he's not... I don't think he's so far advanced in any one area that's going to really take him over the top or into, the top 10, top 15, that kind of stuff. So Aaron McKenzie being the LFA champion, coming in here and showing what he's worth and all this other stuff, I think he's it sounds bad when I don't want to disrespect him, because he's at the level. I think he's a good short notice fighter that could get a contract in the UFC. I think he's a tough guy. He's well-rounded enough with some holes in his game that if he stays healthy, he could get a call from the UFC when they need someone on short notice. I think so. Especially being the current LFA champion and still fighting in that organization, that's, it's going to keep him active. It's not like he's got nothing going on in his life or he's not fighting anymore. He's just not in the UFC. So, or he won't be right now. So that's where I kind of put him. A guy who, despite being on the prospects, is a veteran of the sport. He's got plenty of fights. He was 13-2 coming into this one. Fought a lot of good opponents, and it wasn't his night. Hubbard might have enough to win the Ultimate Fighter, and it doesn't necessarily mean that people on the Ultimate Fighter don't belong in the UFC. It's just this weird dynamic that they've created by putting these veterans who are UFC caliber and got cut because they're fighting other UFC caliber guys and the fight game is merciless. And now they're throwing them in there with prospects or guys with less experience, especially at the highest level. And so far, it's 3 wins to the veterans and 0 wins to the prospects. Now, is that partly McGregor's fault? I don't think so. I think, how much coaching could he have done with these guys on the little time that he had before the fight started? It is interesting, though, that next week he's bringing in Stephen Thompson. So I am excited for next week's episode. Stephen Thompson's one of my favorite people. He's one of my favorite fighters, and I'm excited to see his interactions with McGregor. I love their style. I think they will mesh really well together. As far as their fighting style, I'm interested to see how their personalities line up when they're coaching. We shall see. I'm excited. All right. That's it for this episode. This was episode number 3 of The Ultimate Fighter, season 31. So if you're interested in the last 2 episodes, or you haven't gone back and watched those, I put up a review and a fight breakdown for each one of those as well. So stop over there, subscribe to the channel so the next video is coming out. I really appreciate it. Love y'all. Have a great week.